चाओ 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 कैसे हो दोस्तों कैसे हो आई थिंक ये स्टार्ट ही अजीब है बिकॉज अजय भाई डायरेक्टली फ्रीज हो गए लेट मी जस्ट ऐड हिम बैक 1 second आई कैन सी यू बट आई थिंक आई कैन सी टू ऑफ यू होल्ड ऑन लेट मी
Oh
किक
wow.
आउट द let me
The
kick out your
imposter.
doppelganger. How do I even do this? Why is it? Yeah, that's done. That's done. Oh wait, there's an echo. I think आपके एंड से अजय भाई कुछ करना पड़ेगा आपको माइक का. बट या हाउ इज एवरी वन डूइंग ऑब्वियसली आज थोड़ा मूड तो बेटर रहेगा बिकॉज वी सीन द न्यूज ऑफ द ब्रॉडकास्ट विच आई गेट टू इन अ सेकेंड वाइल अजय भाई इज फिक्सिंग हिज माइक. लेट मी जस्ट सी हूज इन द हाउस. वी हैव चुन चुन के लूंगा. नाइस टू हैव यू एज ऑलवेज. सोहम सेज ओला टू माई कैल्चियो फैंस एंड अजय भाई इतने खुश की फ्रीज हो गए. ऑफकोर्स हम डिस्कस करेंगे. बहुत कुछ है डिस्कस करने को. ऑब्वियसली आज का सबसे लेट मी वन शॉट डन अजय भाई फिक्सिंग योर माइक. लेट मी नो देन मे बी वी कैन.
एक अभी ठीक है क्या?
Echo is there. Yeah, it's there. It's there. Are you plugged in or do you want to? मे बी एक बार आपका माइक ये करके देखो. हटा के देखो. मे बी ट्राई चेंजिंग योर माइक. Hello Ajay and the one whose team conceded a penalty and couldn't even win a preseason. But to be fair, it was a very soft foul, man. But anyways, it's a preseason match. बट ऑब्वियसली यार आज का सबसे बड़ा न्यूज़ जो हम डिस्कस करेंगे वंस अजय भाई फिक्सेस माइक इज द ब्रॉडकास्ट सिचुएशन विद रिगार्ड्स टू सेरिया दिस सीजन. Obviously yesterday we put out a reel, you know, kind of pleading for the broadcast कि कुछ तो अपडेट चाहिए. एंड ऑब्वियसली इन काइंड ऑफ 24 hours ही हमें पता चल गया है कि ऑब्वियसली सेरिया आ विल बी शोन इन इंडिया ऑन टेलीविजन स्क्रीन्स एंड obviously OTT platforms, which is Z, obviously Z5 and Unite 8 Sports, which I'll pull up the tweet to show. But yeah, we'll discuss all of that. We'll discuss all kind of Serie A action. Not really this, obviously, by action I mean how all teams are kind of shaping up in pre-season, whether it's the big teams or whatever. क्या चल रहा है ट्रांसफर मार्केट में बिकॉज सेरिया क्लब्स के लिए जनरली थोड़ा स्लो रहा है ऑब्वियसली व्हेन देयर इज नो मनी टू स्पेंड और रादर व्हेन क्लब्स हैव टू बी केयरफुल दे कैन नॉट स्पेंड मच एंड द ओनली रियल क्लब्स दैट हैव बीन स्पेंडिंग आर रियली फ्योरेंटीना एंड कोमो. सो वो सब डिस्कस करेंगे प्री सीजन में कौन कैसा खेल रहा है क्या चल रहा है टैक्टिकली हाउ टीम्स आर लुकिंग. एंड ऑब्वियसली दिस इज नॉट आवर फाइनल प्रीव्यू. एक मेगा प्रीव्यू होगा ऑब्वियसली जैसे हम हर साल करते हैं. This is just an early kind of looking into the Serie A season. But guys, before we start, before we get into the discussion, please do like, share, and subscribe. Obviously, we are on the road to 3K, very close to 3K. And now that obviously Calcio is on TV, you guys obviously it's better you guys obviously subscribe. तो obviously और Calcio content आता रहेगा. अजय भाई check now एक बार.
पता
Uh,
नहीं कैसा बेटर है क्या?
नहीं नहीं एको है. So we'll have to. Oops. Just give us a second, guys, with to just sort this technical issue. We'll have to rotate आ जाए. अपने को rotate करेंगे because last time चिंतन भाई के इसमें से भी because I'm not getting this. This is this glitch. I'll try to fix it, but I don't know if it's both of us or what it is. But yeah, एक बार फिर
मतलब
से try.
वही करना पड़ेगा.
Weird glitch. So what I'll do is we'll keep the conversation back and forth. We'll keep it back and forth and try to fix this later. I'll ask you. So let's start with the broadcast news. Obviously पहले उस पे आते हैं सबसे बड़ी चीज. यार आई मीन ऑब्वियसली एक पॉइंट पे वी वर नॉट एज वरीड एज लास्ट सीजन बिकॉज वी हैड सम न्यूज ऑफ सर्टन ब्रॉडकास्टर्स लुकिंग टू गेट द राइट्स ऑब्वियसली. बट एक पॉइंट पे थोड़ा टेंशन आ गया था बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली वी थॉट you know there would be an answer by the first date or first 2 days of August, but there was none. But finally, obviously, Z is the broadcaster. I'll pull up the details of what the deal looks like and everything. But as per news obviously 5 साल का डील है with to broadcast it in India and in the Indian subcontinent obviously. So big news. Ajay bhai, the floor is yours. Your thoughts and what do you want to say? Wait, hold on.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you hear? Okay. Yeah, it's fantastic, fantastic news. I think हम लोग जो लड़ाई लड़ते हैं हर साल, इस बार जाके वो सक्सेसफुल हो गया है, बिकॉज फाइनली सेरिया कमिंग टू अ ब्रॉडकास्टर is a big deal यार, क्योंकि more people will get to watch the league since it's going to come on television. Of course, streaming तो है ही, he has got their own streaming platform. But the thing is that honestly, it's been far too long. I mean, it's been far too long. This league is not as bad as what एक कैजुअल जो बोलते हैं, मैंने ट्विटर पे भी कमेंट्स देखे कि बहुत डिफेंसिव लीग है, बहुत बोरिंग लीग है, कौन देखेगा सरिया वगैरह वगैरह. तो आई थिंक फाइनली परम, आई थिंक जो एक एक अपना जो एक ख्वाहिश था, एक एक विश था कि सेरिया आए टीवी पे ताकि ज्यादा लोग देख पाए उसको, बिकॉज नॉट एवरी वन वॉचेज ऑन देयर मोबाइल स्क्रीन. को स्ट्रीमिंग सब लोग देखते नहीं है, बट यूनाइटेड स्पोर्ट्स है अब वर्ल्ड कप के बाद में. इट्स एक्चुअली, I would say, after the World Cup, you have a sudden spike in viewership always. So Serie A is quite a good thing, and this is like the repeat of 2002. 2002 में भी 10 स्पोर्ट्स पे वर्ल्ड कप आया था, एंड उसके बाद में 10 स्पोर्ट्स में सेरिया का राइट्स लिया था परम. 2002 2003, I remember that season very well. Roma and Juve were battling it out for the Scudetto that year. So yeah, I mean, that was the first time I actually got to see Roma play, was to 10 sports. Hopefully now, a lot of new fans can watch Italian football and become fans, and of course कैल्चो चर्चा तो है ही. तो ओवरऑल मैं बहुत खुश हूँ, एंड बिग 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 शाउट आउट टू एवरीबडी, सारे जो अपने कमेंट्स पे है, अपने कम्युनिटी पे है, जो अपन सब साथ में एकजुट आके आके, आई थिंक इट इज रीच द राइट ईयर्स, एंड फाइनली वी हैव अ ब्रॉडकास्टर. आई एम so happy, but I'm so happy because it calls for a celebration.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you. Still, the issue persists. Thought I had fixed it, but yeah, I agree with you. Basically, like I think having a broadcaster in the first place एक ही बड़ी चीज़ है. We were happy with that over the last few years, whether it was GXR, whether it was DAZN, जो भी last minute था, YouTube था, for 45 minutes or whatever it was. Finally, the big upgrade here is watching it on an OTT plus being able to watch it on a channel, because many people do not really even use OTT. Some people still prefer the old school way. When I ask people, they're like, मेरे को टीवी पे देखने को मजा आता है ज़्यादा through a channel. People prefer that old school way. So yeah, I mean, it is kind of crazy that this deal has finally happened, and on mostly Seria's terms, I would say, in the sense that uh, they kind of essentially got the money they want. So which is a big deal for them. Which is, I mean, they still need a lot of things to do, which they need to market the league better. They need to kind of make it more यूज़र फ्रेंडली एंड एवरीथिंग, बट दैट एटलीस्ट द स्टार्ट इसकी ब्रॉडकास्ट हो रहा है. जैसे इधर आशीष नेगी के ट्वीट में है, इट इज़ नॉट ओनली द सीरिया, कोपा इटालिया और सुपर कोपा भी होगा. तो लाइक पूरा पैकेज मिल रहा है आपको डोमेस्टिक का लीग का, और ये 5 साल की डील है जैसे हमने बात की थी. देर इज़ एन ऑफिशियल स्टेटमेंट बाय Z's chief business officer as well. They simply said that they want to capture as many league and kind of make Z the home of football and all of that. So अच्छी बात है. आई मीन, गुड न्यूज़ फॉर स्टार्टर्स. अभी आपको पता है, जस्ट टू रिपीट माई सेल्फ इफ यू मिस्ड द न्यूज़, कि Seria's rights are with Z obviously, and you जब भी वो सब्सक्रिप्शन आ जाएगा तब आप ले सकते हो. वी डोंट नो द कॉस्ट येट. कॉस्ट एक बार आई गेस विल गेट टू नो सून, बट चैनल पे होगा और पूरे OTT पे होगा. एंड ऑब्वियसली 22 अगस्त को सेरिया चालू हो रहा है. विल पुल अप द फिक्सचर लिस्ट लेटर, सो डेफिनेटली बी sure to tune in. Let me just go through some comments quickly, because हम मरका तो वो सब तो डिस्कस करेंगे ही, definitely. Just let me just quickly see some comments before we start the normal discussion which we always do. Um yeah, just here. Nice to have you, RS, in the house as well. Yeah, for next half a decade, technically, yeah, which is a good thing. 5 years is a long time, which even I did not expect. Uh, Congratulations, guys, year on year, you guys fight for the rights of telecast this season. Will happen. Congrats, thanks, Hamza, appreciate it. I mean, we appreciate everybody's support. जो response कल अजय भाई के reel पे भी था, and even on the reel after we got the broadcast news is insane. Which I mean, I saw a lot of people tag Z5 and other platforms, so appreciate it definitely. Uh, दैट इज डेफिनेटली वो मैचेस देख के लाइक मजा आने वाला है डेफिनेटली टीवी पे अलेग्री का केडीबी ट्राइंग टू रिसीव द बॉल फ्रॉम बाडिया शीले एंड फेडेरिको गाटी इज गोइंग टू बी हिलेरियस बाय द वे one hour this will be my first time watching Serie and I will support Roma fair uh, I think हाँ ये draw result दो डार्बी का friendly था that ended as one. We'll discuss all that pre-season action. Just give us some time. Yeah, good day has come after for us for Serie A fans in India, and not just India, like Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka. You know, even they wanted Serie A broadcast. So kudos to them as well. We'll discuss the Molina transfer and all transfers as I said. सब कुछ discuss करेंगे. Anything else? Anything else? Yeah, finally a broadcaster. No need to search for illegal websites. Huh? At least I mean, at least for Italian football. Uh, uh, Serie on TV and all Ajay Bhai got is Nahuel Molina ball because if you actually watch Nahuel Molina, you're not going to get the Udinese version of him anymore. By the way, so yeah, you're going to get a very error-prone player, which we'll talk about. Which is this true, by the way? Can you check this because I can't see a like button either. I don't know what the issue is here. ये क्या चल रहा है? Can you just check it out because even I can't see it. There's something. By the way, if you guys in the comments, apart from Western or Vesper North, sorry, if you guys can seeing this as well, only the dislike button and only the like button, just let us know because even I cannot see the like button, which is quite strange. So, um, let me just see a couple more comments. Thanks for the donation, Vesper North. Just keep your questions coming in. So definitely would appreciate that. Why no commercial marketing, fan interaction, bringing X players to India by says it is all well broadcasting, but marketing is needed to create. Yeah, obviously they need to start all this, but they don't really understand the Indian market yet, which is quite evident. Let me just pull this away. Yeah, they don't really understand the Indian market just yet. ये obvious चीज़ है. उनके लोग आ चुके हैं इंडिया में पहले बट अगेन उनको वो इंडियन कल्चर रियली हाउ थिंग्स वर्क इन इंडिया आई डोंट थिंक दे हैव एन आइडिया ऑफ इट एंड इट हैज़ टू स्टार्ट समवेयर विद समथिंग बट गॉड नोज व्हेन इट विल स्टार्ट आई थिंक दैट इज द बिगर क्वेश्चन हियर इट्स अ गुड कमेंट बिकॉज मार्केटिंग से पहले आप मार्केटिंग के साथ नॉट जस्ट पहले आपको एक्टिवेशंस करने पड़ते हैं आपको हाइप बिल्डअप करना पड़ता है विच now mainly Unite Sports will have to do. So yeah, I'll just obviously get Ajay's opinions on the same. Just taking a couple more comments and just starting the discussion. Yeah, let's start the discussion. Ajay, if you want to answer this question, let me just first mute myself. Then you can unmute yourself because this need to figure this out.
No, yeah, Bodhan, I think this is absolutely very, very crucial because this is how the Premier League built itself over the last 2 decades or so, especially after the 2002 World Cup. They really, really, really pushed everywhere. They still are doing it, by the way. You can see जो evolution है उनका PL for India handle में 1 million सब्सक्राइबर्स है फॉलोअर्स है और उन लोग जिस तरीके से हर सीजन पुश करते हैं ऑफ कोर्स एफपीएल ने भी काफी बड़ा हैंड प्ले किया आई जस्ट होप कि सेरिया कुछ करे ऐसा लालिगा भी करती है बट आई थिंक इट्स मोर आई वुड से जस्ट अ फ्यू pushes here or there. Premier League consistently week in week out ये कर रही है for the last 2 decades like I said. So I'm not expecting much Bodyan. I mean, honestly, I thought कि हम लोग वापस स्ट्रगल करेंगे एक अच्छे ब्रॉडकास्टर के लिए बट आई थिंक अब मिल गया है होपफुली दे डोंट मिस दिस चांस बिकॉज 1.5 बिलियन का उनको ऑडियंस मिलेगा यार एंड इंडियन सब कंटेंट को पकड़ो तो ज्यादा है एशिया पकड़ो तो उससे ज्यादा है यहाँ पे नए नए फुटबॉल फैंस बनेंगे लाइक आई सेड उनको अलग फ्लेवर चाहिए रहेगा माइट एज वेल कैश इन यार मतलब कुछ तो तुम थोड़ा मार्केटिंग पुश करो बाकी सब के लिए तो हम लोग तो है यहाँ पे हेल्प करने के लिए तुम्हारे लिए सो आई थिंक ओवरऑल आई फील दैट this is a good chance for Serie A. Hopefully, the clubs also do well. That's also very important because you know, for example, like Italian clubs doing well in Europe will always be you will always attract new fans. So वो एक हमको चाहिए कि on pitch भी कुछ performance दिखे. hopefully, this is the turning point.
Yeah, this is turning out to be a chore, but कर लेंगे मैनेज. अजय भाई ने बोला लाइक बटन है. नाउ इवन आई कैन सी इट. वेरी वेरी स्ट्रेंज. पता नहीं आजकल ये क्या नए ग्लिचेस आ रहे हैं. स्ट्रीम ऐड पे एको 15 मिनट यूट्यूब पे लाइक बटन नहीं दिख रहा है. प्लीज डू हिट द लाइक बटन गाइस, नहीं तो यूट्यूब कल हमारा स्क्रीन दिखाना बंद कर देगा. यू नेवर नो. बट ऑल दैट असाइड, ऑब्वियसली अजय भाई ने ये एड्रेस कर लिया गाइस. मैं बहुत क्वेश्चंस देख रहा हूँ रिगार्डिंग ट्रांसफर, सो विल स्टार्ट विद दैट. मैं सबका एक एक करके आता हूँ. I saw the Roma, I saw the Salah comment. I've seen the obviously the Mastan Tuano comment as well. Everything. We'll talk about all of that. So first, obviously Ajay bhai, let's. I think एक transfer मैं जो start करना चाहता हूँ before I get your opinion is the whole. I think I should address it is the Christian Romero saga, because now you're hearing links to Atletico Madrid, and you obviously people will wonder why I'm bringing Christian Romero, because obviously he's linked to Inter, and actually Inter have a deal in hand. So just to address this, Inter have Christian Romero sealed. Like the deal with Tottenham is in place for 40 million euros. The deal with Romero on a lower wage, like a slight wage cut, is also in hand. The problem is Inter need to make space in the squad, which is technically अगर चाहिए तो Inter can always take the risk and say, बाद में बेचेंगे बेंजामिन पावार्ड को, पहले प्लेयर को खरीद लेते obviously. But Inter does not function like that. The management does not function like that. From a cost perspective, we do not function like that. So वही होने वाला है कि until and unless miraculously Benjamin Pavard is sold in the next week or so, Atletico Madrid will be the favorites to kind of land him, because they will be selling Nahuel Molina, seems like, to Roma, and they will be selling they'll be making more space as well in the team. So overall, I mean, Ruggeri ka jo links, obviously he's not given a yes to Aston Villa yet, but obviously it basically puts Atletico Madrid in the driving seat, and it kind of puts Inter in the back seat. So if you ask me just my quick 2 cents on this, simple चीज है देखो. मेरे लिए सिंपल है. जॉन स्टोन्स, क्वालिटेटिवली स्पीकिंग, आई डू नॉट माइंड द साइनिंग वन बिट. इंजरी प्रोन बहुत है, हमने बात की थी इस चीज़ पे अजय भाई. ऑब्वियसली फिटनेस का एक बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है जो मैनेज करना पड़ेगा. आई सी जॉन स्टोन्स मोर एज अ स्टेफान डेवराई रिप्लेसमेंट, लाइक अ रोटेशनल रोल which डेवराई was playing last season. Now the problem is you still need to replace Acerbi like a more of a leader role, and kind of Christian Romero उसके लिए परफेक्ट होता. अब ये आएगा कि नहीं अभी भी नहीं पता. You just have to act faster than Atletico Madrid before they finish their business. अभी वही, apparently as per news, Benjamin Pavard has been rejecting all offers that are coming his way, so that does not help either. So वो भी एक अलग problem है. So I mean that is where the situation is, and I know I have to also remind कि Barcelona apparently are still monitoring the situation from behind the scenes. So that is another thing. So essentially it's between Inter, Atletico Madrid, and Barcelona, with Atletico Madrid currently in the lead as per Fraudizio in the news as well. Like just जैसे उसने बोला है. Uh, uh, that part is not entirely correct where he says there is no agreement between Romero and Inter, because from Inter sources that it has been confirmed. It's just a matter of Inter having to sell Benjamin or getting rid of him, Benjamin Pavard, in some way or form. But yeah, it doesn't look likely anymore. It looks like maybe Atletico Madrid will get him. Let's see. And I mean, I guess he makes a lot of sense for either Inter or Atletico in that sense. It'll allow Kivu to play that high line, especially if he comes here. So that was my 2 cents on Christian Romero saga. Ajay, anything you want to say on it before we move on to the next saga? I'll mute myself.
Param, you're being too modest. I think Romero आएगा तो see Inter are already favorites to win Serie A again this year. Romero आएगा तो I think it is like absolutely clear. Look at the defense. You have Akanji, you have John Stones. John Stones, by the way, if he manages to play even 80% of Inter's games, he's going to ball for sure. तो बास्तोनी तो है ही. तो ये बैकलाइन में तुम अगर क्यूटी रोमेरो को ऐड करोगे तो फिर तो भाई I think Inter can actually also look at a deep run in the Champions League, and obviously, this is the core team has already done it, like in 2 seasons. So I really think that Inter should go all out. I know कि मुश्किल है market में for Serie A clubs, but if Inter can land Romero, I think definite favorites. I don't see anyone close to Inter when it comes to squad depth. And Param will be now very modest and say, no, Napoli bhi hai, ye UAE bhi aayega. But bhai, matlab, it is clear as daylight ki Inter are favorites to, at least win the Scudetto and go deep in the Champions League. So let's see how it happens, because Roma could be helping Atleti in this manner, because the Molina deal is done, by the way. So he is coming to Roma, and you can pick it up from here, Param. I know कि काफी लोग बोलेंगे कि मोलिना एरर प्रोन है, ये है वो है, बट भाई हमने 4 साल जेकी चेलिक का हमने the only reason why Zeki Chelik was playing is A, because Roma did not have any other option apart from playing him, and B, just bad management. That's about it. That's the only reason why Zeki Chelik was in the starting 11 for so long.
Yeah, that is fair. Like I agree with your. मैं मोलिना पे आऊंगा बट आई वांट टू गेट योर गाइस थॉट्स ऑन द रोमेरो सागा कमेंट्स में बताओ नीचे कि व्हाट डू यू गाइस थिंक. एक तो मुझे बताओ, डू यू गाइस सी हिम एंडिंग अप एट Atletico Madrid, which is as reported by Spanish sources or Italian media and generally reliable sources, or do you think Inter will manage to sell Benjamin Pavard in time and obviously end up signing Romero? और अगर आपको लग रहा है बार्सिलोना लर्किंग बिहाइंड द सीन्स विल मैनेज टू समहाउ गेट हिम एज वेल, सो लेट्स सी. आप लोग मुझे कमेंट्स में बताओ व्हाट डू यू थिंक. अजय भाई, लेट्स कम टू नावेल मोलिना. ऑब्वियसली आई विल गेट योर opinion as well. For a second, I thought you were unmuted and it was not echoing. Shit, I was so happy, but unfortunate. We'll have to fix this later on. But yeah, Nahuel Molina, right? Nahuel Molina obviously has we हमने इसको बहुत देखा उडिनेजे में, सेरिया में. एंड उस टाइम पे ऑब्वियसली इन दैट क्लासिक उडिनेजे 3-5-2 5-3-2 फैंटास्टिक खेल रहा था ये, राइट? मतलब that work ethic is there. That work ethic I feel is not in question. You can question the technical ability, you can question the end product, and even some of the brain. If I go back to the classic Udinese version, there was a very good player in there, which who had a lot of, even back then had a lot of good number of assists. You know, he at the time if you would have asked me, मैं तो वो भी मेरे को याद है he was linked to Inter, but obviously उस टाइम में हमने डम्फ्रीज ले लिया. But that player, that habit that Udinese have कि ये players को ढूंढ के kind of polish करके बेच देना, it was one of those classic examples. And then he signed for Atletico Madrid, where he was good initially, obviously, and ever ever since, as the years have passed, as Atletico have tweaked their team, obviously with some different supporting role players, his performances have dipped as well. He's not been the same. शिवम और मैं इसके बारे में उस दिन बात कर रहे थे. Even at the World Cup, like even if you seen the final and generally be leading up to it, बहुत errors किए उसने. And he's not been the same. That's just the reality. He's regressed. He's become error prone, and ये बहुत बड़ा debate है because he's been linked to us also. He's been offered to us. We've had him on our list, and then it's like it is. And as Shivam says, like even after the Qatar 2022 World Cup, he was good. Like yeah, and it is crazy to see the fall of this guy because एक player था जो एक certain level of quality ला रहा था. He used to bring that intensity in pressing high up the pitch. He used to just be your classic hard-working wingback, which would suit any three at the back system. And now we are all looking at a player who's completely basically faded twofold, I would say. Matlab literally, and I get it. Look, my perspective here is, before I get your point of view, Gasparini's system is demanding. I'm not saying he's going to be starter because you also have Wesley and everyone, but again we have to consider Wesley might play thoda on the left as well. So उस perspective से it is hard because he will really have to be focused under Gasperini, which is what Gasperini demands. वो intensity suddenly लाना uh, कहीं आउट ऑफ नोवेयर इज गोइंग टू टेक टाइम बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली उसका प्री सीजन नहीं रहा है गैस्परिनी के साथ, एंड मोस्टली एक दो गेम ही मिलेगा उसको प्री सीजन में बिफोर द लीग बिगिंस. So my question is, I understand you said you guys are used to Zeki Celik, correct, fair enough. But let's put Zeki Celik out of context because he's gone. Let's just put him out of the picture. Now you have Molina जो बहुत 50-50. I'm not saying again he's a bad player, he can't do well, ये नहीं मैं बोल रहा. But there is a risk associated with it. There is a reason why Atletico Madrid are trying to get rid of him. And what are your thoughts? Like, are you confident if he had to be given the starting role at Roma? Are you confident, or like does it? Like me and Shivam are very 50-50 on this. What do you make of this? I'll mute myself. You can unmute yourself.
लुक गैस्परिनी का एक हमेशा एक पेशा रहा है कि ये ऐसे जो प्लेयर्स है जो थोड़ा अपना करियर में स्टैग्नेट होता है तो गैस्परिनी उनको उठा के थोड़ा जूस उनके अंदर जूस इंजेक्ट करके थोड़ा रिवाइव करता है. लाइक वी हैव सीन दैट इन द पास्ट एज वेल. So obviously, as someone who looks at past data, there is a bit of optimism, no doubt. I mean, I used to love the guy at Udinese. Honestly, he was absolutely like flying at Udinese, एंड मैंने उसको अभी रिसेंटली एटलेटिको का इतना उसके गेम्स आई हैवंट वॉच्ड हिम obviously when he was Serie A, I used to catch more Udinese games to be fair. But I understand it's not the same Molina anymore. But at this point of time, Roma actually have a more pressing situation, which is the absence of a left wing back. Because I honestly don't want Wesley to play over there full time. We have Divine Wrench, who is also excellent in he's learning, he's progressing. Not a starter, but definitely a good backup. Can play both left wing back and right wing back. Fits the Gasperini system in the sense that he does all the things that Gasperini wants. So priority में I think I really think that maybe Molina will start as right wing back and Wesley as left wing back, and then Roma will look to sign. I know Morera was linked, but Strasbourg have really increased their fee. तो शायद लेफ्ट के लिए और एक कोई सोल्यूशन देखेंगे. मेरे को एक ही डर है परम कि वेस्ली लेफ्ट में परमानेंट ना हो जाए क्योंकि गैस्परिनी हैज रियली एक्सट्रैक्टेड ही हैड अ वेरी गुड सीजन फॉर रोमा कंसीडरिंग इट वाज हिज फर्स्ट ईयर इन यूरोप. बट आई पर्सनली डोंट वांट टू सी हिम एज लेफ्ट विंग बैक. आई थिंक वो राइट में बेहतर खेलेगा बिकॉज जब वो राइट में खेल रहा था विद सोले सोले गॉट 5 goals and 5 assists at the start of the season last season. First 6 months Matthias Sole came into his own with Wesley on the right. So I really hope कि just to sum it up, Molina for me, if Gasperini wanted him, I trust Chacha Gasperini. Let's see if we can revive him as well. And honestly, अगर वो backup बन जाए to Wesley, that would be absolutely ideal. Anyone over Zeki Çelik, man. Anyone over Zeki Çelik. To be very honest, anyone over him. So yeah, I mean that is my take. Let him come. Let him fight for the shirt. Let's hope Gasperini Chacha injects some juice and revives him.
Yeah, I mean, fair assessment of Molina. If you could echo again. Yeah, fair assessment of Molina. I still have my doubts on the signing, but I think you summed it up pretty well that way. कि अगर कोई revive कर सकता है तो Gasperi नहीं है. We have Daksh bhai also in the house. Nice to have you, Daksh bhai. He's asking if we watched UA Chelsea. Did you catch it? Because it was clashing with the Milan derby, so I couldn't watch it. Did you by any chance catch it, Ajay bhai? Not at all, not at all. No, I was. I mean, that's why if you manage to catch up on it, let us know because हमारा उस टाइम पे मिलान डार्बी क्लैश हो रहा था पर्थ में जो हुआ which ended in a 1-1 draw. Which quickly to give an overview of that match at least before we move on to other transfers. It was starting. I think.
By the way, guys, Zegrova scored his first goal for UA. I saw the goal. Absolute golazo. मतलब ये बंदे ने एक भी गोल नहीं मारा था लास्ट सीजन for UA and he scores against Chelsea. Not saying anything.
Yeah, I heard Zegrova definitely scored. I mean, he's actually a good player to be fair. Like, oh, just he's had fitness issues ever since before he signed for UA. So pre-season is really a good time to kind of for him to get back on track. But yeah, all that aside, the Milan derby was very. I mean, it had again वो pre-season vibes थे पूरे. Nothing else to it. Obviously, मैच के पहले एक tribute था for Franco Baresi for both teams obviously, and there was a obviously minute silence, and you had fans of both teams present in Australia. Very very again pre-season game जैसे मैंने बोला मिलान ने भी बहुत सारे bench players reserve players खिलाए हमारे भी mixed था. We started shaky. Milan had the better chances initially. They even hit the post. Then we grew into the game. Eventually, we had like two games to play. Sorry, two chances to score, and we didn't score. And obviously, we opened the scoring with the Marco, obviously. But overall, again, very Milan's pressing looked much better in comparison to their initial preseason games, and we also overall, barring the shaky start, looked very solid in our press. So it's again मैं वही बोलूंगा कि it's proper pre-season vibes. You can see that all clubs anyways just should be focusing on prep. Here, standout players, if you asked me very quickly, uh, I mean, really for स्टैंड आउट पिकअप करना भी प्री सीजन में इतना मुश्किल होता है ना. लाइक I would say Milan's goalkeeper, the youngster Toriani, actually was really good. He made some good saves. Obviously very young keeper. And for Inter, I would say I think Bisek was really good overall in defense. Like अच्छा performance था, solid performance था. So that's pretty much it. And Andy Diouf at right wing back, that experiment is kind of working so far. So let's see if he's like the second fiddle right wing back or whatnot. I only watched it from a Chelsea perspective today, but a banger from Edon Zegrova. Yeah, fair. Like Spalletti का वही चीज़ है ना, he's getting the players now he wants attacking sense में भी अगर आप देखो, he's got Ale Begovic, Ajay bhai, he has Zegrova, he's gotten his favorite boy Kolo Muani as well, which still not a big fan of the player, but I mean Spalletti got what he wanted, and combined on Kolo Muani and Alay Begovic, they've spent like 80 million. So kudos to them, and they might even get John Lukumi as well on top of that. But Ajay, bhai, what's the next transfer? Because Bodhan has talked about. I'll just take Sharky's comment. He's talking about Palestra. Palestra played well today, but better than average defenders like Chaloba, Tosin, Bhadia, Shile. Nice one, Sharky throwing some shade at Chelsea. But to be fair, हाँ एक transfer sorry मैं आज मैं बात करना चाहता हूँ because this has been like the one of the biggest talking points in Italy and it has irritated me. जैसे शार्की ने बोला चालोबा, my god, like ये standards अगर ये तुम्हारे सच्ची में गिर गए wherein your journalists in your country come out and say that Chaluba would walk the league and all that stuff, because I remember जब वो इंटर से लिंक था, all these small time journalists जो insider की तरह act करते, they're like Inter are linked with Mr. X. It's a defender who would walk the league and would become the best defender, and the name was Chaloba. Like, my God, how do you even say that with a straight face? Is crazy. How can you say Trevor Chaloba would walk the league? Is beyond me. And I'm just happy we did not waste our time on Trevor Chaloba, because an exorbitant fee like 40 million was being discussed, and I do feel Como have still overpaid. Like 30 million is not what he's worth. I get there is inflation and all that, but Como having the money they do, even with FFP restrictions, I think they've just wasted their time. I I do think he's a decent defender when it comes to playing a high line, but he still can't judge his tackles very well. I personally do not rate him, and if I had to, I maybe we'll do a separate video on grading transfers, but I don't know if I had to grade this transfer. I just cannot picture Trevor Chalobah being a leading centre back in a backline for a Champions League team, or the way Como play. Like he suits the way they play, but just cannot picture him leading a backline. I'll go on mute. You give me your 2 cents on it.
Yeah, very mixed opinions, because there are a bunch of Chelsea fans who absolutely love him, and there are a bunch of Chelsea fans who absolutely hate him. There is no middle ground. The few times I've watched him play for Chelsea, the lad is athletic. Uske paas mein, he's got all the physical attributes that you need to survive in a league like the Prem. But यार अब देखते हैं, because like Fabregas का system थोड़ा अलग है, in the sense that he loves to build up from the back, and Chaloba does have those characteristics in him in terms of ball playing. So whether it works out, it's a very 50-50. But for me, it can be like a random, like an Ashley Cole, like a move that can totally fail, or maybe some a move that works out. The one thing that I can see is that he will have a purple patch where he will do well, like Tomori, for example. If I had to judge apple to apple, Fikayo Tomori, when he came to Serie A, for 6 months he looked very good. He looked like a very solid defender. He had pace. He could gel well in the Milan team. And right now Milan are trying to find a seller for him, and no one's coming up for him. So Chaloba का वही है, he's got age on his side though. तो अब देखते हैं कि कैसा होता है. It's very 50-50 for him, because Chelsea के जो fans हैं ना, मैंने जैसे बोला कि they either hate him or love him. So the transfer could be excellent or it could be bad. No middle ground, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair on Trevor Chalobah. Like I still am not a fan here. Like I just don't. I don't know. I can't. मेरे लिए वही मेन इशू हो रहा है, वीक इन वीक आउट इसको पिक्चर करना एज द लीडिंग सेंटर बैक. ऑल्सो एक और चीज मैं कोमो के बारे में, आई मीन शार्की का अगर आप रील्स देख रहे हो, he's decided to become a Como fan. Obviously it was rigged, as we all know, because एंड में अगर इंटर हार गया तो इट्स डेफिनेटली rigged. शार्की जस्ट बेयर दैट इन माइंड. बट पॉइंट ये है ना अजय भाई, मेरे को कोमो के बारे में एक चीज याद दिलानी है. They have made the decision to not sign more Italians. Matteo Liberali is the last, mostly the, maybe not the last. They did sign a youngster. Maybe Moise Kean को sign करेंगे. They are in talks with Fiorentina. We'll see. But as of now, currently, Liberali is like that marquee Italian player they've signed, like talent wise at least, right? And they've made the decision. Fabregas ने भी openly बोल दिया कि maybe हम लोग UEFA का punishment accept कर लेंगे और squad, because if they don't have those many players they'll have to obviously accept a reduction in squad size. So इसका मतलब ये है ये लोग Champions League में with a reduced squad, which is maybe, if I calculate, it'll be down to 16 players, 16 to 17 players, which is crazy because आपको मिलते 24 प्लेयर है और आप 7 प्लेयर कम के साथ खेलोगे essentially. And internally ये फैब्रिकास को डायनामिक्स मैनेज करना आसान नहीं होगा because you will have to just the 7 players, by the way 7 players is a big number. He'll have to explain to them कि भाई मैं तेरे को चैंपियंस लीग के बाहर क्यों रख रहा हूँ, एक चीज वो, and make sure that they give their best in the league so that they can still kind of compete for those Champions League spots. Now that they'll be expected to do that because apart from Inter they're that one team that will have continuity in that sense, right? So now managing the squad dynamics of keeping players happy, leaving some of them out of the Champions League, playing some in the league, then you play a thin squad in the UCL, but you have to take it seriously, which means you'll be expending double the energy because those players will also have to do well in the league. Like technically, if you see the way they play, the high press and everything, Fabregas has been very clear. His first way of defending is the high press. You remember Ajay with the stat from last year where for large parts of the season, Como ke paas statistically best defense hota tha. Why was that? Because of their high press, not because they had great or a solid center back per se. Jacobo Roman was good, but he wasn't like one of the defenders with the highest clearances or tackles one or aerial duels one. No, it's because of their high press. And now to maintain this with
PPTA, passes per defense fraction.
yeah, correct, correct. And 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 uh, and to now maintain this with two competitions, I mean an extra competition in the Champions League where you'll be facing obviously some of the toughest teams which they never have. It is a tough task, and I just wonder Como इसके साथ किधर जा रहा है. I still feel they had all the time in the world to sign 2-3 Italian players at least. हो सकता if you, for me, if you're chasing a Moise Kean up until today, I think it's much very doable that एक दो और Italian players chase कर सकते थे वो लोग. And ऐसा नहीं कि कोई नहीं है, Serie B से तुम talented players है उठा सकते हो. It's not like players aren't there. If Venezia can do it, I'm sure you guys can do it, given the money you have. So, any 2 cents on this strategy they have adopted? Like they've decided to adopt. Any 2 cents you want to add? I'll mute myself.
आग से खेल रहे फैब्रिकास, आग से, बिकॉज जैसे तूने बोला दे विल बी प्लेइंग 3 कॉम्पिटिशंस दिस ईयर एंड चैंपियंस लीग में रिड्यूस स्क्वाड के साथ में जाएगा, तो आई थिंक ही इज गोइंग टू काइंड ऑफ डेजिग्नेट की प्लेयर्स जो लीग में खेलेंगे एंड प्लेयर्स जो यूरोप में खेलेंगे. तो देखते हैं, इट्स अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग एक्सपेरिमेंट. शार्की भी वही कह रहा है कि अगर कोमो जीतेगा तो लीग जीतेगा तो चिंतन में स्पॉन्सर करेगा. But I really don't want Como to win the league. We'll go to Como. That's a different story, Sharky. But it's going to be a difficult season for Fabregas because I think even they surpassed their expectation. Like they ideally would have wanted to enter the Europa League or Conference League. Uske baad mein, make it to the Champions League. But they're directly now in the frying pan of the Champions League. So I'm very excited to see them. Like how are they going to cope up this year? How is Fabregas going to cope up as a coach this year? Because you see that he's got the marks of being a great coach in the future. तो ये जो situation कैसा unravel होगा देखने के लिए interesting रहेगा. But for me, I would have, if I was Como, I would have signed more Italians. It's a no brainer. परम साइन करके उनको भी मौका मिलेगा खेलने के लिए यार. And like you mentioned, Serie B से बहुत सारे हैं यार. The only reason why Italians are costly is because it's a direct profit. Like if an academy player is sold say from an Inter or a Roma, तो zero, मतलब तुम्हारा cost है zero investment का, और तुमको मिल रहा है 15 मिलियन 16 मिलियन. तो बुक्स में it all. I'm sorry, I think मैं बीच में मेरा network का कुछ issue आया था. But yeah, just take Italians, man. I mean, as simple as that. Let's see how Como fared this season.
Yeah, agreed with that. I feel Como need to definitely take a chance or two. Apologies for the seconds delay because थोड़ा है हमारा StreamYard का technical issue. I don't know what that is. I will fix that after this. But let me just take a few comments on some Mercato related things. Juventus should have signed Oliver Glasner in place of continuing current coach. I disagree with this because Spalletti, एक तो it's not that Spalletti has come with cheap, तो तुम उसका contract really terminate नहीं कर सकते. You have to remember Thiago Motta is still on their payroll, so वो भी payment है, तो you can't really just add those costs from a financial perspective. And honestly, I had this Oliver Glasner chat with a lot of people when he was linked heavily with AC Milan, and I rate Glasner, but ये ना I feel Italy would have been a very big shift for him culturally, and to kind of we discuss I discussed this a lot with Shivam as well. I just don't see Oliver Glasner being a fix right from the get go at any Italian club. It may take time and a lot of time, and a club like Juventus right now does not have that time considering the financial things to fix, considering the fact that they're in the Europa League. I feel continuing with Spalletti, उसके flaws है. He's not the greatest coach. There are mistake flaws with him and shortcomings, but you have to continue a process. Juventus, one of their biggest problems, I think Ajay bhai will agree, is sacking left, right, center, not being able to nail down anything. That is what they need to do right now. And they've gone on the market. We'll come to Juventus in a bit. They've gone onto the market. They've decided to back him. So we'll come to that. But I personally थोड़ा disagree with this. Atalanta fan ही मुझे लगता है हम इस साल relegate हो जाएंगे. I mean, yes, Atalanta have. You're not getting relegated. Like, वो तो नहीं हो रहा because Atalanta still have a decent team. Yes, Ajay bhai, Atalanta have a lot of work to do on the market because nothing has literally kick-started for them. एक मेजर लिंक जो है सेबास्टियानो एस्पोजिटो का है बिकॉज एस्पोजिटो जो पीओ एस्पोजिटो का बड़ा भाई है सेबास्टियानो के थोड़े इश्यूज चल रहे हैं कैलियरी में विद द होल ट्रांसफर सागा. ऑब्वियसली कैलियरी रिडीम्ड हिम परमानेंटली फ्रॉम इंटर एंड देन एवर सिंस देन जो सेबास्टियानो एस्पोजिटो के इश्यूज रहे एटीट्यूड के हैव सरफेस्ड अगेन. बेसिकली he wanted a contract renewal, and he says Cagliari have not stuck to their promise and are not giving him what they want. So he did not show up to their training camp. Then he left. He did not show up, and all that drama has been happening. And now there is still no agreement, and they're looking to sell him essentially. And Atalanta might be the club where he goes. Sari Ghatia, I mean, that's a bit too much. Like, I mean, I agree he's not the same, but I feel he's still a decent coach. और आप लोग relegate तो नहीं हो गए यार. Like, come on, that's a bit. I feel that's a bit too much. Uh, Ashley Cole, yes, Ashley Cole used to get docked in the Serie A. Ajay Bhai knows all about that. I think Ajay Bhai is frozen. Scalvini, yes, I saw वो बहुत क्लब से linked है. Di Marzio even reported links with Newcastle United जो एक साल से रहे हैं. Because Scalvini na the again player is quite good. Like if you really think about it, uh, there is that technical ability in him. He's good at playing out from the back, and sure aerially and all he can do better, but injuries are a big problem. Big problem with Scalvini because जब आप expect नहीं करते उसको बड़ी injury हो जाती है और back to back होती है. That is the main issue holding him back. I think Ajay Bhai is frozen. We'll continue the chat until then. Ajay Bhai, if you can hear me in any shape or form, let me know because I can't see you or hear you. So yeah, but yeah, I think Scalvini see at United. मेरे लिए वही है कि इंजरीज मेरे लिए मोर देन एनीथिंग मोर देन स्कल्विनीज क्वालिटी इज द इंजरीज फॉर मी. अजय भाई are you back just give me a thumbs up at least then I'll get you into the discussion. But yeah, with Scalvini, as I said, it is Ajay, until he returns I'll continue the chat. But yeah, it is kind of yeah. Injuries are the main put off. Atalanta slowly going back to the lower table state in 2010s. They are regressing. No one can sustain the model of selling their best players for long and keep finding gems in the transfer market. Bodhe ne assessment अच्छा है, but you have to remember Atalanta's model was always like that. I mean, there was no other way they were going to become the club they did. For them to compete with the big guns, this is how it could have happened, and वो लोग ने किया. अभी गैस्परिनी गया है, that's the main factor you have to remember. 9 years man, 9 seasons. और nine seasons के बाद कोई भी replacement आए, it's not easy to maintain that legacy. It takes time. I don't think Sari is like a long-term solution, but then you have to give it time. Atalanta is not going to be back right away. So yeah, let's see. नहीं यार, Eddie Howe is not ready. See, it's I get where you guys are coming from, but to coach in a lot of these countries like in Italy and Spain, you really need to understand the job culturally, the club culturally first. Same goes vice versa. I just can't, as of now. I like Eddie Howe. I personally don't rate him as highly as many do, but I can't just see him setting in at a Napoli if you have, for example, given maybe with time. Atalanta is not really the like a bad answer, but Napoli is a bit too much for me. considering how volatile a club Napoli can be if needed. So we'll wait for Ajay bhai to come, but I'll just continue the discussion. See, there are other ट्रांसफर न्यूज़ ट्रांसफर डिस्कशंस वी कैन हैव फॉर एग्जांपल हमने यूवेंटस की बात की यूवेंटस हैव कंप्लीटेड द signing of obviously Kolo Muani and Ale Begovic, big signings because essentially 80 million kharcha hua. I'll just pull up the tweet for that. Just give me a second. But I want you guys to say in the comments as well what you guys think because Ale Begovic signed from Bayer Leverkusen was kind of the talk of the town all this transfer mercato. He was linked with Italian clubs. He was linked with English clubs. He was linked with basically everyone possible because उसने बॉस्निया के लिए अच्छा खेला. अगर आप बॉस्निया की टीम देखो वर्ल्ड कप में जो खेली, ही इज द मोस्ट टेक्निकल प्लेयर इन दैट टीम एंड कॉजिंग अ लॉट ऑफ थ्रेट ऑफेंसिवली. उसको फाइनल थर्ड में वो जो ड्रिफ्ट करना जो होता है ऑन एंड ऑफ द बॉल सडनली पॉप अप इन अ डेंजरस पोजीशन, ही इज वेरी गुड एट दैट एंड एज Frodizio is reported he had signed for basically a package of 35 million, which is 33 plus 2 essentially. So Spalletti wanted to bolster his attack because अगर आपको पता है जैसे हमजा ने भी नीचे बोला है Vlahovic left as a striker, so you have Jonathan David, you have Randall Kolo Muani, Ale Begovic comes on the wings, and if you know Spalletti loves his wingers, Spalletti absolutely loves his wingers. यू नो एवरीवेयर इज गॉन, उसको जहां पर भी विंगर का चांस मिलता है ना वो खिलाएगा, वो फोर्स करेगा. नापोली में ही फोर्स द इशू विद पोलिटानो इवन इफ पोलिटानो वाज एन एवरेज प्लेयर. इंटर में मुझे याद है ये बंदा केटा बाल्डे को खिलाता था. सो the guy is yeah he good question from Uncle Sharma. Would you have by the way, nice to have you as well. And hopefully people, if you guys are coming across this channel for the first time, please do subscribe. He creates Inter and Serie A content and Azzurri content as well. Yeah, I mean, I remember, bro. Like he was DiMarzio linked with him with us. Like in the beginning, I remember he said Inter, Napoli, and Roma were in talks or at least inquired about Ale Begovic. I wouldn't have had an issue having him, to be fair, because I think we've discussed this that Kivu wants that X factor player, but I guess obviously we would have had to tweak our system for that, made a departure or two inclusive of Fratesi, of course. So would have actually liked to have him. Obviously fitting him wouldn't have been easy, but I think Kivu would have managed it, man. Definitely, he would have. I feel been a. I mean, now that Allegri is there, maybe not. But I think if under normal circumstances minus Allegri, I think he could have been a good option for Napoli, but maybe not anymore. Very would have been very intrigued to see him under Gasperini as well. Like I can only imagine. I can only imagine him under Gasperini kind of, in that final third, causing a lot of impact. Given that Gasperini likes those kind of players. But quickly coming back to UA, I think this is fantastic for Spalletti because now it gives him those kind of attackers he really wants that can really drift in and around the box and just make those late runs in as well. And Ale Begovic also, one of his trademarks is taking a lot of shots from outside the box. Those curling finish shots essentially, and very dangerous option. And the second person obviously you have signed is Randall Kolo Muani. I want you guys to let me know in the comments because Randall Kolo Muani को वो लोग ने लास्ट ईयर भी साइन करने का ट्राई किया था एंड वो ऑब्वियसली हुआ नहीं but they've got their man as they say. And while I personally don't rate Randall Kolo Muani that highly, like he's very, if you want an out and out 9, that's not Kolo Muani. Same is the case with Jonathan David. So UA's issue currently is कि अगर आप उनके 9s देखो, Jonathan David has not fully settled in at UA. He does well for Canada, there is no doubt about that, but Kolo Muani and David are not your out and out 9s, and at times आपने देखा है Juventus do need a proper 9. They've missed it in a lot of the mid-table games against the mid-table clubs. So that's where I'm a bit not fully sold on the Randall Kolo Muani for signing from an objective point of view, obviously. But I want to know, like, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Spalletti, like, from a Spalletti perspective, do you think it really makes sense? I I can see it, but I personally have a lot of doubts over this. Like, because at the end of the day, अगर आप fee देखो, 45 million spend किया गया है, and again for a UA, given where they are financially, where they find themselves in the competitions they are competing, it's not feasible to waste money anymore. Obviously, again, you have a lot of work to do, but at least they've got two major signings out of the way. Uh, I agree, Ashutosh. वही है कि 45 million, not 50, is a lot. Is a lot because वो जब UA में था ना, he was actually pretty decent. Like he used to offer a lot of threat, but with him, there has been an issue of consistency wherever he has been in his career, Kolo Muani. And that is the main thing to assess now. Can really Spalletti, he loves his link up attackers, can he really make it count? Let's see, time will tell us. Chintan Bhai needs to come on the stream. he's he's very 50-50 on the Gonzalo Ramos signing. He's very 50-50. So let's see. Uh, yeah, I'll come to Fiorentina, Gurjot. Just give me a second. If they sign Randall Colomwani, then Zagre deal makes less sense tactically and Pellegrino makes more. Yeah, yeah. This is another news which Shivam, sorry, thanks for bringing it up. They're also Di Marzio reported today that they're linked with Joshua Zirkzee as well, which is now puzzling if they've actually signed Kolo Muani, because what is, I'm just trying to figure like what is really his intention at this point, because how many attackers does he really need? You still have, as you can see reported by Di Marzio, you still have a Jonathan David, you still have your Kolo Muani, Zirkzee, Zegrova भी है अटैक में, आले बेगोविच भी आ गया है. So essentially I'm assuming somebody will go, but I don't know. Like it's a bit. You have to remember they even signed Shivam Jeff Ekator from Genoa, so it's an attack. Chico Conceição is also there, so it's a loaded attack in that sense. Maybe Zirkzee को deeper खिलाएंगे in that shadow striker role behind the strikers, but then that means ये लोग system change करेंगे और midfielder में किसी को काटेंगे. Otherwise I cannot picture how Zirkzee also fits in this already bloated team. Let's see. I agree Pellegrino would have been a decent kind of target. He's not a target man, but a good finisher, which they would have, you know, like to have. But the deal did not progress because they did not deem the price tag for Pellegrino suitable. So yeah, but I agree. I agree that Pellegrino is probably more of the profile they needed. Thrill Z got the rights pissed. It's 5 times expensive for us than in India. Is it? How much does it cost? Let me know, because I've not checked the cost of Z in India yet. So let me know how much it costs. Ajay Bhai will be back soon. He just has a call to take. He'll just finish that and come back. But until then, from UA, I think we can move on to Fiorentina, because Fiorentina has been the talk of the town. I'll just pull up something because they've made a lot of signings. I mean, they've, along with Como, Fiorentina have been the club that has been the most active on the market. I'm just pulling up their window. Yes, I think you guys can already see it. I just wanted to pull up this tweet. So obviously, Olog ne already one of the World Cups, I would say, well-rated players or highly performing talents in Christ Ulai sign कर लिया. Arthur Ata, who was one of the breakthrough players in the Serie A last season with Udinese, they've signed for 30 million. So Ulai और Ata पे ये लोग ने 60 million spend किया. Giovanni Fabian को permanent किया. Brescianini is an all-right signing. Valdepeñas youngster signed as well. Radu Dragusin, obviously risky signing, but they've signed. Alex Jimenez, very controversial signing for his things off the pitch. But Fiorentina are not no strangers to signing controversial players. And Franco Masantuano is also there. Shivam, I want to get your guys' thoughts, because Franco is all, because Fiorentina have great relations with Real Madrid, और ये पहली बार नहीं है उन्होंने Real Madrid से जाके प्लेयर उठाया है. बट आई वांट टू नो व्हाट यू गाइस थिंक ऑफ दिस मर्कातो, बिकॉज ऑनेस्टली अगर आप देखो सेरिया में not many clubs have been active. Like if you look at an Inter, they're struggling to get their deals over the line. AC Milan, after a couple of signings, it's gone cold. Juventus still figuring themselves out. Napoli, abhi tak Federico Gatti is their main target, who they've still not signed. Badia Chile. There's a lot of back and forth that is happening, or signings हो नहीं रहे, but Fiorentina and Como are the two clubs that have really gone out and said, you know what, we had targets in mind. Regardless of whatever you think of those players, we just have to go out and complete those signings. Just a second, Ajay Bhai is back. Ajay Bhai, I'm just going to test. Yeah, there is the echo. Shit.
है क्या echo?
Wait, let me speak.
हाँ
Guys, is there an
solve
echo?
solve हो गया शायद.
What the fuck? Let's not jinx it, but solve हो गया. There is no echo currently. अजय भाई मैं आपके thoughts ले लेता हूँ. I was just coming to the Fiorentina market. I just finished discussing UA. I'll circle back maybe to you later on that. But Fiorentina, मैं वही बोल रहा था, जहाँ एक मार्केट जहाँ सब लोग स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं डील्स कंप्लीट करने को, चाहे वो इंटर हो, यूवे हो, मिलान हो, नापोली हो. I mean, Napoli are not even being able to sign fucking Federico Gatti. That's how.
Yeah,
That's the situation. Roma finally have at least started moving, but overall Fiorentina, Fabio Paratici is back as their sporting director. Let me remind, उसका ban खत्म हो गया, ban uplift हो गया. He's back as their sporting director. Christ Ulai, Arthur Ata, Fabian Vieri, Joao Mario. whatever you think of these signings, what Fiorentina have essentially is gone out and done is ki bhai, we wanted X player. Unlike in the past where we failed to land our targets, which Fiorentina are famous for, they've gone out and aggressively signed players along with Como. What are your 2 cents on this?
I think they've had the best market, and don't forget Fabio Grosso. He's their new coach. So very intrigued to see how Grosso takes over, because I really felt that Sassuolo mein to, like he did a fab job with them. Sort of overachieving also. I think they always were expected to finish mid-table, but I think उसने थोड़ा punch किया about his weight. Upcoming coaches to watch out for Param. I think Fabio Grosso. But with Fiorentina, I think Fiorentina, sometimes their biggest enemy is
Yeah,
Fiorentina. They
yeah,
themselves are their biggest enemy. So इतने सारे नाम है, like Arthur Atta from Udine से, he was linked with everybody, like all the big clubs, to be fair, in India and abroad. And भाई मतलब Fiorentina ने ले लिया उसको. Unai had a good World Cup, got him back. Dragosin Jimenez come with Serie A experience, and then of course Franco from Franco ka to yaar, like I really want to see the version of him that we saw in Argentina. And so Shivam ka comment hai, I think it'll be
yeah,
very intriguing to see how he operates. Of course,
yeah, yeah,
Fiorentina ka yahi hai ki they love playing attacking football. That's always been in their
yeah.
DNA, to be very honest. And is saal they're not in the Conference League, Param. They're pure. Uh, they were the flag bearers for Serie A
Yeah,
every
yeah.
year, 6, 7. So is
And
saal
if you saw that stat the other day, if you saw that stat the other day, I mean obviously conference league एक नया competition है, वो भी अपने को याद रखना है. But they are the team who has played the most games in the history of the competition
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
of
Yeah.
course. तो
So
इस साल वो है नहीं उनको, तो उनको सिर्फ लीग है. तो आई थिंक Fiorentina at this point of time, top 6, तो definitely I think if Grosso can get all these ingredients working, I think they can make a serious push.
या एक चीज मैं डेफिनेटली बोलूंगा. फॉर एग्जांपल आई एग्री विद शिवम की फ्रांको ऑब्वियसली रिवर प्लेट में उसका अलग रोल होता था. लाइक he used to be fielded out wide and then obviously, but he's right, he's not a width holder, he used to drift in, and that is exactly what Fiorentina do need him to do and have to use him in that way. Because एक चीज मैं जो बोलूंगा ना, फ्योरेंटीना का अगर आप स्क्वाड देखो, हम ऑब्वियसली गाइस विल बी डूइंग एन इन डेप्थ सेरिया प्रीव्यू लेटर ऑन. ऑब्वियसली now we have more the reason to do a proper Serie A preview now that it's being broadcasted, obviously. But point is, अगर आप अजय भाई फ्योरेंटीना की टीम देखो, राइट, अगर आप मैं जस्ट मिडफील्डर्स और अटैकर्स आपको जस्ट टेंटेटिवली पढ़ के बताता हूँ, ठीक है. As of today, players who have returned from loan and everything. Moise Keane is one of your main guys, obviously. Albert Goodmanson है. Embala Enzola was loaned out, but obviously we know वो loan, he's not a regular there. Ricardo Sottil बहुत average player है. Rolando Mandrogora, obviously he's a veteran, but he's not a creative player. Fagioli is more of a deeper player. He's not like an advanced creating player. Fabian is more of a workhorse. Arthur Atta is a technical ball carrier, and that is essentially your midfield. I'm Christ उलाई को भी बाजू में रख रहा हूँ 1 मिनट के लिए. दैट इज इसेंशियली योर मिडफील्ड एंड अटैक. बेसिकली मेरा पॉइंट क्या है, इधर कोई क्रिएटिव प्लेयर है नहीं इस टीम में टेक्निकली, अगर आप वैसे देखो तो. देर इज नो आउट एंड आउट प्लेयर हु कैन से हाँ आई कैन क्रिएट, वॉट, in a game I can create proper 5 2 or 5 plus clear cut chances for my attackers. Okay, and I felt लास्ट ईयर जो भी फ्योरेंटीना के प्रॉब्लम्स थे, अगर मैं टैक्टिकल स्टैंड पॉइंट से बोलूँ ना, दिस वाज अ प्रॉब्लम. I saw them creating very less. They had many of the pitch issues, Ajay, which affected them. We know that was the bigger picture. We know that, and this is where I agree with Shivam. Yes, this is what I mean to say. Ki this is where Matan Tuano can help if he's profiled correctly, and I trust Grosso to do that because Grosso ने जो technical freedom दिया, for मेरा biggest benefactor at Sassuolo was Christian Volpato. Volpato to me was a very unpolished raw average player with all due respect, but Grosso ने जो उसको confidence दिया, जिससे उसके एकदम वो form spike और technical ability improve हुई है, that is. And obviously he left Australia hanging and eventually he went back to them. Not that Australia were begging him to come and all that, but he did do a decent job for Australia. You have to remember that as well. And I feel this is where Grosso can be handy now. ग्रोसो का भी एक चीज इज लर्न फ्रॉम हिज मिस्टेक्स. आपको याद है जब उसने फ्रोजिनोने को प्रमोशन कराया था, वो छोड़ के वो सीधा लियोन भाग गया व्हेन लियोन वर इन टर्मोइल एंड ही सफर्ड, लाइक He could not have a good spell, obviously. Now he's learnt, and I agree. Again, to go back to Shiam's point, he has to be profiled correctly. You have to. Fiorentina, more importantly, Ajay Bhai, whenever they've signed these younger players, from other leagues, they've not really trusted them. Like my point goes to someone like a Valdepenias here as well. You have to be start playing these players because Fiorentina, जैसे आपने rightly बोला, are their own worst enemies. How do you overcome that? You actually start using the talent which you have because you sign decent players, but for whatever reason you do not use them. It has happened a lot in the past, and that is where Grosso is the biggest game changer for this. Again, we'll be doing a mega preview later, but Fabio Grosso has given chances to youth at Sassuolo. He
Yeah,
needs to keep the pressure out because Ajay bhai, we know Fiorentina is one of the toughest jobs out there. एक तो
yeah, yeah.
डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प बैठा है अभी वो नया वाला उनके चेयरपर्सन पे, वो कमीसो का बेटा, मतलब वो वीडियो मेरे दिमाग से अभी तक गया ही नहीं है, वो डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प की तरह उसने जो बात किया. सो let's see. I personally do I like Fiorentina, not as much, but it would be good to see them do well for a change because I feel under a Grosso he will definitely play more Italian players, and that is what Italy needs right now. And that is in turn, I was hoping he stayed at Sassuolo because if for me Sassuolo is the biggest benefactor to Italian football. If anybody gives the most to Italian football, for me it's Sassuolo, nobody else. And I really hoped he was going to stay, but now he's where he is. I hope he does well. We'll come to a few questions that I have for you here. सब
हाँ,
लोग आपको congratulate कर रहे हैं for Molina. ये गुरशन है, the Atletico Madrid fan, of course. He runs Atleti Bharat, so you guys can check him out as well. Nice to have you. But it's basically Fraudizio ने here we go कर दिया है, so you can be happy about it. But apparently, by the way, Samuli is saying something on the broadcast. He's
yeah,
saying
yeah.
the prices are crazy, so it's not going to be cheap here. But apparently, it's 8,500 over there. Like what the hell, 8,500? That is madness, bhai. Matlab 8,500 is crazy. Uh, yeah, see,
That's
this is where I'm
that's
saying. हाँ बोलो
Dazon
बोलो.
Dazon से भी महंगा है वो.
डजोन से भी एग्जैक्ट 8500. इट्स नॉट इवन नेटफ्लिक्स और ये सब चीजें भी. आई एम सॉरी टू हियर दिस सामुनली, लाइक इट्स क्रेजी इफ दैट इज एक्चुअली द price, but unfortunate. This is not how he should be going about it if they really have. Ajay, I want to get your 2 cents on one signing, one coach signing which somebody has mentioned over here. I can't find that comment. I think it was Samunli also. Yes, correct. It was Samunli. Alberto Aquilani.
Oh
अगेन
yes.
वो फ्योरेंट फनीली इनफ ऑब्वियसली फियोरेंटीना में था, वो फियोरेंटीना से अरे फिर से चालू हो गया.
नहीं नहीं ठीक है.
वेट, होल्ड ऑन, I'll ask you the question and you can this thing. But Aquilani, like again a very progressive coach, like gets the need of the Italian youth, how they need to play, and Sassuolo on paper have replaced him perfectly. Or two cents on that.
So अगर आप अक्विलानी का अगर आप कटानजारो हाइलाइट्स देखोगे, the way that his team used to play, very modern coach, loves to play out from the back, loves to keep the ball on the ground, keep it moving. I think very progressive coach. Let's hope two things happen. एक तो देखो, I don't think so he will set the ground alight immediately with Sassuolo. So Sassuolo need to give him time because even they're going under a transition season अभी. तो मेरे हिसाब से तो वो रोमा वायस तो है. I love the boy. He is a Roman through and through. Unfortunately, if I have to rewind back, one of the first sales, because Roma were in considerable debt at that point of time. 20 million to get 20 million in 2008 9 is 9 10 actually, to be fair, is a lot of money. I think it's like the equivalent of at least 75 million 80 million आज के टाइम में. तो रोमा did have to part ways with him, तो वो bias था. But coming back to his coaching career, he impressed at he was obviously, like Param mentioned, Fiorentina का youth system में coaching कर रहा था उनके. I think under 19 Primavera side का coach था वो. एंड कटनजारो में लास्ट सीजन काफी इंप्रेस किया. कटनजारो डिड रीच द सेरे बी प्लेऑफ्स, वहां पे लोग हारे. तो वहां पे मैंने थोड़ा अक्विलानी का टीम का हाइलाइट्स देखा, द वे दैट ही likes to play. So all in all, I think it's a great step for both Grosso. Like Param, I know that you liked Grosso at Sassuolo and तू चाहता था कि वो और रुके, but I think Fiorentina is a good jump because they are a bigger club than Sassuolo for sure. एंड आई थिंक दोनों के लिए, अक्विलानी के लिए भी अच्छा जंप है, and Grosso ke liye bhi. So I hope that he does well because, like you mentioned, Sassuolo are that team that like they are a like they, a thorn आप बोल सकते हो, like they love to beat the big teams, cause an upset. They add that dynamism in the league. So it'll be very interesting to see how Aquilani goes about in molding this next phase for Sassuolo, and I think it's a great fit for him.
Yeah, I think yeah, Aquilani, I think there is definitely a long way to go. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक season में I expect him to kind of hit the ground running. But the important part here is उसका जो philosophy है overall, it identifies with the way how Sassuolo as a club operate overall, and just overall I just needed that because it's good for now with the whole revamp with Italian football जो हम देख रहे हैं, जो होने वाला है, changes की बातें चल रही है, उसमें you need obviously coaches like this to come in and continue the projects with clubs like Sassuolo, with even going to a club like Fiorentina and being able to kind of use more Italians overall. Gurshan has one more comment before we just discuss a few topics and wrap up. Bhai, I mean, I think this is a very obvious answer. You have to reject. Alexander Stankovic is one of the best prospects coming up in the world of football. He's the अगर आपको डेहान स्टैंकोविच याद है तो इंटर के ट्रेबल टीम से उसका बेटा है वो, एंड it's nothing to do with nepotism. He's a very good player. He had a fan. He was Club Brugge's player of the season, by the way. Last season he was fantastic in the Champions League. There is nothing about huge money. You do not sell players like this. Especially Ajay, I always say this: players that identify with the club and are fans of the club. This guy essentially, being a Serbian, still grew up in Italy, was a fan of the club, was in the trophy lifting ceremony in 2010 in Madrid when we won the treble. And life has come full circle wherein he's going to be a key player for the coming season. And in to give you context, in the preseason games he's played, he's been fantastic. I have nothing to say. मतलब जो उसके his dad was not a six, right? Dejan Stankovic was never a six. He was more of a, I would say, closer to an eight and थोड़ा kind of very physical and in your face player. But he just gives his dad's vibe, proper like वो जो कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ खेल रहा है ऑलरेडी एट दिस एज, एंड द मेच्योरिटी इज शोइंग, इज क्लियरली अंडरस्टूड इंटर के लिए खेलने के लिए क्या करना है. ऑब्वियसली देयर आर थिंग्स टू इंप्रूव. आई एम नॉट सेइंग इज एकदम परफेक्ट. वो थोड़ा यू कैन सी थोड़ा ऑफ पेस है कभी कभी, थोड़ा दैट एक्सेलरेशन कैन बी बेटर, फिजिकली होल्डिंग ऑन टू द बॉल कैन बी बेटर. बट आई एम जस्ट सो ग्लैड व्हेन प्लेयर्स दैट kind of care for the club Ajay, work out and reach that path when you want. Like you can say that about a Demarco in our case, you can say that about a Barella. Players that actually care for the club. And Stankovic, there is no way. Even if you say कल maybe कोई 100 million का offer लेके आ जाए, I would absolutely reject it because you need these kind of players, man, in your team. And there is no way you can absolutely accept such bids. It's just my 2 cents on it. अजय भाई आपके लिए एक क्वेश्चन है, sorry, comment है. Ajay bhai from Greenwood to Somerville to Nusa to Fofana. I think we better sign L. your 2 cents.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if Roma go for Sancho at this point of time because he is available on a free. But no, yeah, it's a pain area. Roma need to buy someone in that position. Let's hope that it's sooner than later, and let's hope it's someone who Gasperini wants end of the day. Because मेरा मंत्रा वही है भाई, जिसको जो भी प्लेयर है मार्केट में जो अवेलेबल है, एंड चाचा गैस्परी ने बोला ठीक है इसको साइन कर लो, आग बंद करके साइन कर लो, बिकॉज वी हैव सीन हिज ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड. एंड टू बी ऑनेस्ट, इफ someone had mentioned about Reed, the right back, I think Ashutosh का comment था, तो मैं उसमें just wanted to highlight that the money is not an issue, the salary is, because Nottingham Forest apparently are offering him like quite a huge salary. And इटली का सेरिया का ये प्रॉब्लम है कि यार there is a wage cap, there is a salary structure, and teams can't overplay. Like there are a few players who are in the salary cap who are the highest earners, and then of course वो pyramid है. तो रीड का वही था कि even though I think the clubs could have agreed for a transfer fee, the salary was an issue. That was the same thing with Greenwood and Somerville, obviously, because Somerville. Sorry, my net is also acting up together. But yeah, I mean, I think someone, just to answer your comment, yeah, let's hope we sign a player who can attacking player who can play on the left in this position ASAP.
fair, fair. That is fair. एक और चीज अजय मैं actually one talking point I want to talk about, right? हमजा मैं तेरे क्वेश्चन पे आता हूँ रिगार्डिंग एक्सपेक्टेशंस बिकॉज थोड़ा अर्ली तो है आई नो यू राइटली सेड इट आई कम टू दिस एक क्वेश्चन मेरे को बात करना है जो एसी मिलान फैंस है या जिसको भी सॉफ्ट स्पॉट है एसी मिलान के लिए and you guys can give your thoughts because I want the chat to contribute. By the way, we'll wrap up the stream shortly, guys. Please do like, share, and subscribe. We've discussed a lot of the transfer stuff from Romero to your अपना क्या बोलते हैं Nahuel Molina to all the different kinds of transfers and how teams are looking. We'll just have a quick look at later what the vibe is regarding all major teams. But एक ट्रांसफर बस मैं डिस्कस करना चाहता हूँ रादर ट्रांसफर न्यूज इज राफेल लेआओ बिकॉज आई थिंक फॉर एसी मिलान फैंस इट इज फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग क्योंकि वो ये ट्रांसफर सागा में अटका है बिटवीन गैलेटासराय एंड फेनेरबाचे वेयर ही इज इसेंशियली demanding a lot of money where Fenerbahce apparently met his demands of wages but then Fener said हम AC मिलान को जितना रिक्वायर्ड ट्रांसफर फीस चाहिए नहीं दे सकते गैलेटासराय को भी चाहिए वो भी उधर नहीं हो रहा है बेसिकली नथिंग इज मूविंग एंड AC Milan's transfer market ever since this issue or related to this issue has been blocked because unless they really sell him they cannot get moving because obviously Gonzalo Ramos पे spend किया and all of that as well. What do you think? Because surely this is a guy you have to remember has been saying in interviews ever since the season began मैं जा रहा हूँ छोड़ के AC Milan but किसी को चाहिए नहीं Saudi को he doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia he's not fully keen on Turkey he's been waiting for the Premier League but nobody really cares about him in the Premier League because obviously if you have an attitude like that nobody is really going to want you and he's not performing well either overall क्या लग रहा है like Milan are really stuck with this guy and how if you're Amorim how do you बिकॉज इसेंशियली आपका थोड़ा मार्केट ब्लॉक हो गया थोड़ा नहीं बहुत बड़ा ब्लॉक हो गया इसके वजह से इस कारण की वजह से एंड आपको कुछ तो अंडर कट करके बेचना ही पड़ेगा अदरवाइज यू आर इन ट्रबल बिकॉज वी नो मिलान नीड टू फिक्स अ लॉट ऑफ एरियाज मिलान नीड टू address their backline to an extent. Okay, you cannot be going on with Gabia, Koni De Winter all the time. Estupinian भी error prone है थोड़ा क्या आपको क्या लग रहा है like where does this situation go and how do you solve this?
I think Leao के लिए तो Milan want money, Leao wants money. Ideally, it's Turkey or Saudi. That's the only way I see it going. I know someone ने बोला है कि Roma were interested by the way, but I don't think so. We have the money nor the salary structure to pay. It's a very high salary that he commands at Milan, by the way, and he'll only get it in the Premier League, maybe, or a top club in Europe, or टर्की और सऊदी यही ये तीन चार ऑप्शन है जो होने नहीं वाला आई थिंक ही इज गोइंग टू बी स्टक एट मिलान I think under Amorim in that 3-4-3 system maybe he may find the light at the end of the tunnel. I think I'm just saying maybe it all depends on if a buyer comes up. I think if Milan can sell him they will sell him, but अभी जैसा जा रहा है परम they're not able to sell. Like I said, Tomori, they want to get rid of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. उनके मिडफील्ड में एमोरिम को दो ही सेंट्रल मिडफील्डर्स चाहिए. आई थिंक उनके पास में 7 या 8 है उनके पास में सेंट्रल मिडफील्डर्स इस वक्त. सो उनको दो या तीन को ऑफलोड करना ही था उनको, बट वो लोग नहीं कर पा रहे. तो मिलान का जो मर्काटो थोड़ा स्टक हो चुका है. आई नो दे साइंड गोंजालो रामोस, दे साइंड मारियो हीला, री साइंड लुका मॉड्रिच, बट आई थिंक जो अमोरिम को जो प्लेयर्स चाहिए द in those pain points अब तक हुआ नहीं है. And I think Leao staying will block the Mercato for a bit. And I think um, like I said, I can only see him go to Turkey or Saudi. Otherwise he'll end up rotting at Milan, to be fair.
I agree like on Leao वही चीज है कि I mean, I'm just thinking how because the way Amorim also plays with this 3-4-2-1 which he did today, he said after the game also there is a lot of work to be done. By the way, he made a funny comment before the match yesterday. I guess he wanted to take a cheeky dig at Inter as well. He's like, why did you choose AC Milan? Like he was never linked to Inter, but he's like, Milan is Milan. Just look at the YouTube followers. I'm like, what is that reason? भाई ये हम लोग का line है. तू कोच बन के यूट्यूब फॉलोअर्स की बात क्यों कर रहा है? पीपल स्टार्टेड मेकिंग मीम्स ऑफ हिम विद द प्ले बटन बाय द वे आफ्टर दैट, which is hilarious. But all those jokes, like it's just hilarious. He had to have a typical Ruben Amorim moment, right? Like from his Man United days where he's talking about YouTube followers over, which is just hilarious. But all that banter aside, I agree. Like मेरे को नहीं समझ में आ रहा है how these guys solve their market block as long as this guy is there. And problem is he does not contribute in the defensive phase. He has those issues. उसने सेम इशू इसके लिए भी क्रिएट किया था, राइट, फॉन्सेका के लिए. सो I don't know what to say. But anyways, moving on, we'll wrap up this stream very soon. Just a couple more things, Ajay bhai. By the way, Politano scored a banger. You might want to go and check it. They're playing Osasuna, Shivam, and Napoli are leading 1-0, and he scored a banger on the wall. He, of course, Allegri के लिए perfect है कि Politano अच्छा खेलेगा. And this fucker is going to get picked for Italy by Mancini as the right wing back. लिख के ले लो. But all that nonsense aside, just a few more things and we'll close this stream, guys. Please keep the likes and comments coming. Let's just quickly look at Napoli. Okay, not they've not signed Gatti, they've not signed Badiashile, but I mean, come on, how can you first hire Allegri? And apparently, as per reports, De Laurentiis को लगता है Allegri उनको चैंपियंस लीग फाइनल में लेके जाएगा इन 2026. 10 साल पहले होता तो अलग बात है, बिकॉज वो कर चुका है. बट 20 लाइक कमेंट्स में बताओ. Apparently, he legit believes Allegri can take them to the Champions League final. Ajay bhai, De Bruyne said he's happy to get rid of Conte because he used to play overly defensive football. Simply put, this is what De Bruyne said. आगे Allegri है जो Conte से भी बड़ा वो basically हराम बॉल खेलने वाला है. Allegri is ready to sell Vanya Milinkovic-Savic for Alex Meret, which is crazy. Like मतलब इतना ही Vanya से प्रॉब्लम है तो दूसरे क्लब्स को दे दो मतलब. Let me just tell you the transfers, basically what Napoli have literally done in the Mercato. Nothing apart from redeeming players, which is Alisson Santos, Vanya Milinkovic-Savic, Rasmus Højlund. Yeah, essentially nothing on the market so far. And they have a lot of injuries. Let me just quickly tell you the injuries currently. Boykema is injured, Neres is injured, McTominay is injured, De Bruyne is injured, Rafa Marin and Cyril Ngonji is anyways not part of the project. क्या लग रहा है आपको ये? Your market is blocked again. Just to complete my question. Your market is blocked and your primary targets are Federico Gatti and Benoit Badiashile.
वैसे आई डोंट थिंक सो देयर इज एन एको परम तो एक बार तो ट्राई कर कि क्या है बट भाई आल्सो लुकाकू इज लीविंग लुकाकू इज ऑन हिज वे टू एमएलएस दैट्स द ओनली major Napoli transfer. Yes, it is a centenary year. It is their 100th year of existence. Napoli fans did come out and they did fantastic things, in the Piazza. लेकिन यार क्या मैं बोलूं यार Allegri यार ये इसीलिए तो सारा ये लीग का मजाक उड़ाते रहते हैं यार लोग. Allegri in 2026 still finding a job with a top club, you can say, who's competing in Europe in the Champions League and who won two Scudetti in recent times, is just fascinating. And शायद we never got to see that जो मैंने I think मैंने more than a prediction, I wanted to see it, like the whole drama between De Laurentiis and Antonio Conte जो केस ऑफ से होता है एकता कपूर के सीरियल्स में जहाँ पे सास बहू जैसे लड़ता है. आई वांटेड टू सी कॉन्टे एंड डी लॉरेंटिस फाइट. होपफुली मुझे इस साल मिल जाए वो जो ख्वाहिश है मेरा पूरा हो जाए. I can see Allegri, removing his jacket and De Laurentiis losing it. I hope I can get to see that because let me be very clear. I don't know. I do not like Napoli. They are the southern rivals to Roma. They've won. They've overtaken Roma in number of Scudetti, and all I want to see is them to crash and burn. Hopefully it happens. And yeah, and Lukaku not showing up. He is not been showing up like it's done. It's done. And I won't be surprised if he stays in Italy also. If this अगर ये move नहीं हुआ ना MLS का तो कोई टैलेंट टीम ले ही लेगा उसको लोन पे. भरोसा ही नहीं है साला. तो anyway, तो just to sum up, नापोली का जो देख यार with Allegri you will get those 1-0 all the time. But again they're playing in 3 competitions, so Champions League का वो pressure रहेगा ही उन पे extra games पे. And remember, Param, that they're coming from a World Cup year. There will be fatigue in the players, and if you don't have a large squad to rotate, तो दिक्कत तो होने ही वाला है मेरे हिसाब से. Let's see how it goes for them. With Allegri, you can still expect that odd bit of magic. The problem is that if he loses the dressing room, that is where things start to unravel. You saw how he galvanized Milan. He made the Milan defense rock solid. One season ago, that same bunch of players were, leaking in goals. But as soon as Allegri lost the dressing room, उसके बाद मिलान completely crumble हुआ. तो वो एक possibility है नापोली के साथ में भी अंडर एलेग्री. टेलर ऑरेंटिस तो अभी वो गुणगान गाते रहते हमेशा यही करते रहता है. बट विद कॉन्टे इट डिड नॉट एंड इन अ गुड वे, ऑल्दो व्हाटएवर ही ट्राई टू क्लेम. I think to crash out in the Champions League as champions of Italy is a definite failure in my honest opinion. So देखते क्या होता है. It's an interesting time to kind of hate watch Napoli. I will be there. I will be definitely be there to see how Allegri and De Laurentiis engage सास बहू जैसे.
Yeah, I mean वही है कि नापोली का मेरे लिए I can understand the rivalry part of it, but yeah, that's the thing. मैं तो एक तो फनी चीज मैं उसके लिए रुका हूँ. लुकाकू will finally get to टेस्ट हिज अमेरिकन फेक डाउनलोडेड अमेरिकन एक्सेंट इन द यूएस. वही मैं उसी चीज के लिए रुका हूँ. हिम गोइंग टू अटलांटा यूनाइटेड एंड जस्ट हाइपिंग अप हिज एक्सेंट. बट ऑल दोस जोक्स असाइड, उसके एजेंट ने भी, पास्टोरेलो जो उसका एजेंट है इटली में, जो बड़ा एजेंट है फेडेरिको पास्टोरेलो, उसने बोला क्लियरली कि लुकाकू डज नॉट वांट टू बी अ बैकअप टू ऑयलैंड एंड इट्स नॉट अ रोल वी एक्सेप्ट. सो क्लियरली अ सेपरेशन इज वेरी वेरी लाइकली. एंड मेरा नापोली का वही है, they've dropped banger jerseys all around, but the mercato has stalled and understandably so. But look, their attack if you really see, ठीक है, थोड़ा sorted है. मिडफील्ड भी अगर आप देखो, टेक्निकली इट्स अ बिट सॉर्टेड. यू हैव टू कंसिडर द पोजीशन ऑफ अंगीसा, जो अभी के लिए उसका ऑटोमेटिक रिन्यूअल वो लोग ने कराया. सो अंगीसा हैड एन ऑटोमेटिक रिन्यूअल क्लॉज इन हिज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, दैट्स व्हाई ही इज स्टेइंग, बट अदरवाइज ही कुड हैव लेफ्ट एज वेल. ही वाज लुकिंग फॉर अ मूव. बट दैट बैकलाइन इज अट्रोशियस एज शिवम पॉइंटेड आउट. लाइक उनका उनका बेस्ट उनका फेवरेट हुआन एसुस भी चला गया. एंड देर इज रकमानी एज वेल. आई मीन रकमानी इज एन ऑल राइट प्लेयर, वो कुछ तो करता है, बट इज नॉट द ग्रेटेस्ट प्लेयर आउट देयर. I don't know what these guys are thinking. And with Meret as your primary keeper in this, it's just crazy. I can picture Allegri trying to play six at the back, Ajay off the ball and keeping these guys compact. I get it. He'll do that. That's exactly what he's going to do. But it's still crazy that, yeah, I I don't know. It's 5th of August today, and it's not really looking great for them either. और जो लोग बोल रहे Napoli will be second or Napoli will fight for the Scudetto, as things stand, I see on paper there is quality. मैं ये नहीं बोलना चाहता नहीं है. मैं स्क्वाड एक बार फिर से अगर आपको थोड़े प्लेयर्स बोलूं, you still have a Rasmus Højlund who is fit in well at Napoli. You still have Alisson Santos. हमने देखा अजय भाई, Alisson Santos is a good X factor player. He's making a difference. Lukaku is not staying, so I'm not counting him. But you still have your Scott McTominay. You still have a KDB. Obviously, KDB McTominay अभी तक एक साथ प्रॉपरली खेल नहीं पाए हैं. Whatever Politano is, अपने को हंसी मजाक है, पर नापोली के लिए कुछ ना कुछ तो कर ही लेता है. So there are players, but obviously there needs to be a renewal in this squad because it is वही टीम अटकी पड़ी है, अभी वही बैकलाइन अटकी पड़ी है. So let's see. Nicolo, I gave it. I just said that I'm just very happy with Stankovic, Alexander Stankovic. Very, very good performances, mature performances. So I hope he continues. Just Ajay, we'll take a few comments and wrap this up. Napoli भी हो गया अपने लिए. Uh, Napoli should have got Samu Costa, the Portuguese DM. Mallorca relegated थी. They could have got him for 20-30 million. Now he went to Al Nassr. Yeah, he was there in the Portugal squad as well. That's not a bad shout by any means. Uh, Italian Church on a Wednesday night from Suyog. Let's go. He says, nice to have you, Suyog. Keep up the great work. Keep up the great work. Hope to collab with you as well. Uh, just a few more comments, and Ajay bhai, we obviously addressed this. We addressed the Como discussion. But do you agree? You answer this. Do you think we can do something in the Coppa Italia, but given the Mercato, or is it too early? Like, do you really think maybe they should try for that, or what's your 2 cents on that? I'm going on mute.
टू अर्ली यार. एंड ये कोपा इटालिया ना सबसे बेकार ट्रॉफी है, टू बी ऑनेस्ट. इट्स I mean, it's a trophy end of the day. Just the format is very horrible. It comes at a time and like if you don't have squad depth, you can't play the Coppa Italia, like literally. And बहुत early to say है, but I think Fabregas will try to A, finish high as possible and make an impact in the Champions League and build for next year. उसमें उस बीच में अगर trophy जीत गए तो it'll be a bonus. I don't think so. He'll set out to win a trophy. मिल गया तो bonus मतलब it'll be like a super achievement. But I think कोमो के लिए expectation अभी यही रहेगा कि to qualify for Europe again and again and build a team which obviously will be the one for the future in the sense the kind of talent they want to bring in and attract to the club, make it a popular destination for footballers to come to. I think that is their long term plan. तो मेरे हिसाब से इस वक्त उनको उनका फोकस यही इसी पे रहेगा. कोपा इटालिया ट्रॉफी वगैरह सब बाद में आएगा.
I meant to say you could have answered that, but ठीक है मैं ले लेता हूँ. Like देख यार, Vesper very simply, Amorim simply said in his press conference that there is a long way to go. He's assessing players. Like somebody mentioned, sorry I missed the comment, Christian Komotto, good talent, but is he ready for the senior team? Remains to be seen. I'm not too sure. Camarada ko bhi AC Milan Ajay have decided to keep him, which is a good thing because I think he'd rather keep him than send him to a Lecce or someone where he's not going to play under Di Francesco. But a lot of variables Vesper North. He's still figuring out his team, tactical approach, क्या signings आएंगे नहीं ये वो किस youth को रख सकते किसको नहीं रख सकते. It's a very experimental phase for him. So too early to answer this. This is a funny comment from by Shivam. Politano right wing Di Lorenzo घाटी रखवानी है. Daylight savings will be hilarious. भाई जो लोगों को नींद आने वाला है ना ले, जो I can only imagine Napoli versus Udinese or Napoli versus Lecce. My God, there's going to be crazy. Nikhil, कुछ scene नहीं है. He's going to sign a 5-year extension very soon. It'll be announced. He's not going to start over Lautaro because you cannot bench Lautaro or Marcus Thuram for Pio Esposito, who's still learning. He's a kid at the end of the day. Uska preseason has been all right. He can do better. He's still kind of getting in the groove. But again, a fantastic talent who you have to nurture carefully. He's an Interista through and through. He's about to sign a 5-year extension, so nothing there really, nothing, no news per se. We spoke of this life beyond existence. So stream में please थोड़ा पीछे जाओ because we spoke of Ale Begovic and Juventus का Marcato. थोड़ा पीछे जाओ इसमें. Just a couple more comments and we'll wrap up this stream. Ajay, I'll just ask you one last question on Italy before we close. Um, just finding something. There was one comment there which I cannot find anymore. But yeah, I think transfer wise अजय भाई अपन ने बहुत अच्छे डिस्कशन कर रही है. ओवरऑल कोमो के बारे में बात की है, फ्योरेंटीना, इंटर, मिलान, यूवे, एटलांटा, ऑल ऑफ देम. अब मैं थोड़ा शिफ्ट करना चाहता हूँ फोकस. लास्ट is coming to the Azzurri थोड़ा because we've obviously spoken of the Azzurri a lot. But आज न्यूज आई है, जो न्यूज में बोल रहा था कि जियान फ्रांको जोला is had as the third guy working with Ranieri and Mancini, and Zola will be overseeing like the youth side of things as well. How are you feeling about that? And just generally, I'm just hearing some good things like Mancini is looking at talents, already young talents. So he's already started working on it. Uh, Overall, early vibes क्या लग रहे हैं आपको इस चीज से पूरा?
They can. I think early vibes are good. They're looking at like there is some vision. I can like that's what I said in our earlier videos and live streams also कि कुछ तो दिख रहा है कि भाई कहाँ पे तो एक डायरेक्शन दिख रहा है जो पहले दिख नहीं रहा था. It's more of a like I would say a surgery rather than just putting a band-aid. देख अभी इटली का ऐसा हाल है कि काफी काफी बड़ा नी रप्चर हुआ है. राइट. नी रप्चर के लिए तुमको सर्जरी करानी पड़ती है. बैंडेड से काम नहीं आएगा. अब तक तो सब बैंडेड ही लगा रहे थे. अब लग रहा है कि शायद सर्जरी हो जाए. तो आई थिंक ऑल इन ऑल द ट्रायो ऑफ जोला, रैनियरी एंड मंचीनी शुड बी ऑन पेपर ओके. जस्ट फिंगर्स क्रॉस भाई. इटली को बस जस्ट कंसिस्टेंटली यही देखना है कि one cycle at a time. So that's how they should build, and then the results will come. To be honest, like I honestly feel ki the future is bright for the Azzurri. Like we've seen the lowest of the lows. It's just onwards and upwards from here, in my opinion.
Fair take on that. I mean, I think it's about time कि now everybody जो भी हुआ वो हुआ. You have to get essentially on the same page with, especially the management side of things. जो भी issues थे, they have to put it behind them and obviously kind of move ahead and just simply do the basics, tackle the refresh the youth system, start a league for the under 23s and whatnot. A lot to be tackled. Obviously, Ajay bhai, this is not the end of it. एक और चीज है कि वो लोग अभी जो उन्होंने प्लानिंग की थी, जो इम्प्लीमेंट करनी थी चीजें सिस्टम वाइज, द बेटिंग मनी बीइंग रीडायरेक्टेड टू यूथ फुटबॉल, स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस, वो सब अभी चालू होगा. So that needs to start right away. Like you cannot wait anymore. Quickly, Suchich will make space for himself. He's a great talent. But there is a lot of competition in Inter's midfield. You have to remember. So he will. I'm sure. I love the guy. I think he offers a lot of quality. तो देखा है हमने and he'll definitely carve out space here. Rodri to Barca, na see, I think Ajay, good time to bring in the pivot. If you guys missed our reel, we've put it out there कि Italian football will always be the thing we cover the most and the main primary thing. But since Ajay bhai, I think you will also agree if you want to give your 2 cents once I'm done. We just can't resist talking about football in general because World Cup maybe वो feeling थी. Even if Italy was not there, we were creating content on the World Cup because we follow a lot of football outside Italy. So we've decided to cover other leagues as well. The channel name and identity remains what it is because Calcio essentially means football. So it is essentially football charsa. None of that is changing. It's that we are kind of expanding and there will be more content that will start coming out soon. But as I said, Italian football will be the primary thing to be discussed here. Now that especially we have renewed motivation with Z. Ajay, any 2 cents on that you want to add very quickly? I'll mute myself.
So I think Rodri to either Real Madrid or Barca is an excellent transfer because I still feel he's got a few good years left in him, if not more. I think this World Cup really we saw a version of Rodri back to his prime and fully recovered from that ACL that he suffered that kept him out for a very long time. So leader hai bhai. I think both these midfields need a leader on the pitch. मेरे को लगता नहीं कि फ्रैंकी डेयोंग में वो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है लीडर बनने का. And of course Real Madrid have been missing a leader in the middle of the park ever since Cruz, Casemiro and Modric moved on. Modric more recently. तो Rodri to anywhere I think is a big move. I mean uh, अगर आप हमारे क्लब्स के बात करें पर you would take Rodri at Inter I'm sure and I would take him at Roma. Like it's a no brainer. सवाल ही नहीं उठता भाई. He brings in that mentality. He brings in that leadership. He still, like I said, he still has a few good years left in him. We saw it in the World Cup. Hands on, अगर बन रहा है जिसको भी जो if Man City can keep Rodri, well and good. But if he's on the market, if a club can go and get him, by all means, go and get him.
Yeah, I think I pretty much agree with that. But yeah, yeah. I mean, Mancini, he's known to be an Interista. We are talking about Gianluca Mancini. If anybody is not understood, obviously he signed an extension for Roma. Personally, I know उसको थोड़ा ज़्यादा hate मिलता है. But even if the possibility of signing him was there for us, we had only inquired. I still have my doubts, and I really wouldn't have taken him with all due respect. Uh, wow, this is a bold take. This is a bold take. But we'll come to predictions, and when we do our preview, definitely. I mean, yeah, we still don't have a right wing back, but still a bold take. कोमो के बारे में सैफ हमने बात की थी स्टार्टिंग में थोड़ा पीछे जा. We discussed this exact point, so please if you can go back in the stream. We do think it's a bit challenging to put it very simply. Me and Ajay I have discussed this because Como UCL में squad cut करके जाने वाली है because they do not have enough Italians. Pablo, we discussed this as well liberally very quickly. If I had to give 2 cents, very, I think perfect signing on paper because I think a player like Liberali, the season he had at Catanzaro, Ajay Bhai was very good. He's very active in the half spaces and a very he's a very all action player that likes to kind of get involved on and off the ball. So I feel for Fabregas' system in that sense it makes a lot of sense. Uh, and he gives you a good number of games as well. And in the case which they are going through, where they will be playing a shorter squad, much needed. Uh, so I think what is this? Is there a super chat or something? Sorry, can you just go through this? I'm unable to pick this. 10 joules gold coin. I don't know what this is, but thank you for your contribution as well. But
I we are
uh,
such we are such unks that we don't know what these 10 jewels gold coin is for the PSL. है. अरे भाई एको नहीं हो रहा है, पर अब तू अनम्यूट कर अपने आप को. नहीं 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 हो रहा है, तू अनम्यूट कर. बट एनीवे विदित, थैंक्स फॉर कमिंग इन. एंड कुछ सवाल रहेगा तो भाई लिख दो, पूछ लो. वी आर जस्ट रैपिंग अप द स्ट्रीम इन द नेक्स्ट 5 minutes. थैंक यू सो मच गाइस. मतलब आई वुड अगेन once again want to thank each one of you. I think we are so happy ki I think Parab, was it 2021 or 2020-21 last time that Serie A was on Sony, matlab on a proper broadcasting network. So I think आप सोचो इतने टाइम के बाद में हम फाइनली देख रहे हैं कि सेरिया हैज कम. उसके बाद में इट मूव टू वूट, इट देन इट मूव टू जियो सिनेमा, देन इट मूव टू जीएक्सआर, and then it moved to Dazon. I mean, last season Dazon tha. So that was essentially the journey that Serie A took. Khair, I mean, jo ho gaya so ho gaya. We can look right at the at the future only right now. So yeah, to wrap up the stream, we had planned to just talk about transfers and कि क्या चल रहा है. प्री सीजन फ्रेंडली है ऑस्ट्रेलिया में, इंटर है, मिलान है, यूवे का फ्रेंडली था, तो वी थॉट वील जस्ट कैच अप. बट इनएडवर्टेंटली बन गया कि चलो सेरिया का ब्रॉडकास्ट का भी हो गया. मतलब आई थिंक दिस इज द क्विकेस्ट मैनिफेस्टेशन. 24 घंटे पहले हमने अपील रील बनाया और one day later we got the result. It's never happened, by the way. First time it's happening. Yeah, Sports 18, right? Sports 18 is Jio's channel only basically. So that is what it was. So Voot also eventually MTV ka tha. It was bought over by Jio, then it went to Jio Cinema, Sports 18. So we've seen it all यार. मतलब 10 Sports बोलो, Star Sports, ESPN, Neo Sports, Z Sports. Serie has been on literally every broadcaster possible and every streaming partner possible. GXR, like a company that was created out of thin air, उस पे Serie था. तो मतलब आप सोचो कि क्या हाल है. But anyway, glad it is over. जैसे परम ने बोला, कंटेंट आता रहेगा सेरिया के बारे में, अदर लीग्स के बारे में, पॉपकॉर्न कंटेंट आता रहेगा. तो भाई जस्ट सपोर्ट करना. ये सीजन बहुत ही लंबा है. वी आर जस्ट राइट एट अ प्री सीजन राइट नाउ. सो just want your continued love and support. That's all.
Yeah, I think whatever there is an echo. I can hear it at least. अगर आपको echo आ रहा है तो मुझे बताना, because मेरे को तो आ रहा है for whatever reason. Is Inter interested in Casado? No, it's fake news, man. Just ignore it. It's fake news. I'd be happy if it comes on DD Sports says Sam only. अभी cost देख के तो सबके I really hope it's not the prices you have mentioned. I really hope there is some change and it's maybe some glitch or whatever. Yes, we have safe. इसके लिए भी आपको पीछे जाना पड़ेगा. It was the very second thing we discussed. So please do go back into the stream and check it out, because अगर मैं रिपीट करता रहूँ तो डिस्कशन कभी खत्म भी नहीं होगा. I don't see any additional comment anymore. Ajay bhai gave his thoughts and I'll just give my closing thoughts. Again guys, I mean I know कल ही हमने रील डाला था ब्रॉडकास्ट का, आज आज जैसा जैसे मैंने बोला आज ही रिस्पॉन्स आ गया. आई बिलीव दैट मे बी अगर कोई रील नहीं डालते और अगर आप लोग कमेंट करके टैग नहीं करते, बिकॉज आई रिमेंबर मेनी पीपल टैग जी, maybe it wouldn't have even been announced today. Maybe they would have announced it much later, maybe like closer to the match day. So maybe they saw it. I would like to believe at least that they saw it. They realized कि एक response है, चलो कर ही देते advance, sorry announce. So we are just grateful for the support. और यार simple चीज है, please do continue, please do like this stream, please do like every piece of content we make. Obviously there'll be more to come. As I said, Calcio Charcha is aiming to go big, which is cover as many leagues as possible. uh, Mainly to European football, but obviously wherever we can hop into other things as well, and just bring to you as much as possible. But primarily, Cal- this is the home for Italian football. Italian football will be the first thing on the menu, to put it like that. Like it'll always be the primary goal to kind of serve to our audience. And again, please do share everything we do, and please do subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 3K, very close, so please get us there and share it with your friends, whoever watches sports, and let's get there. Now, just a reminder as I close the stream, Serie A has a home to be watched on as a broadcaster. Yes, it is on Z ka OTT platform, but it is also on TV United Sports. We've shared it on our Instagram. There is a reel on YouTube as well, and Instagram, share it, retweeted it on Twitter. So please go check it out. एंड सब्सक्राइब करो और प्लीज इस टाइम सेरिया देखना बिकॉज एटलीस्ट सेरिया देख के हम साथ में कंटेंट क्रिएट कर सकते हैं एंड there's scope for to do so much more watch alongs everything. So please guys, please do like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you soon in the next live stream, and until then more content to come. Thank you to everyone. We'll see you soon. Ciao ciao.